the world's 10 rarest battles between fox pythons and ferocious beasts. The number one python crazily eats a hunting dog as food. So ferocious. Can you believe it? A 70-pound beast loses to a 2-pound little one. Fox pythons are small mammals found in the Kalahari Desert of South Africa, renowned worldwide for their cuteness. When they stand in groups, their eyes staring blankly into the distance, they appear especially adorable. But don't be fooled by their cute appearance. Fox pythons are more ferocious than flat-headed pigeons. You've probably never seen their ferocious appearance when facing a powerful enemy. Despite their small size, they possess courage and fighting power completely disproportionate to their size. In the harsh land of the Kalahari Desert, fox pythons brush with death every day. They are not picky eaters and are fearless. Even against opponents many times their size, such as hogs or birds of prey, they rarely back down. Today we've compiled a list of the world's 10 craziest fox pythons and their most thrilling battles with ferocious beasts. Every duel is so tense it's breathtaking. Showcasing the ferocious nature of Desert Warrior's 10th place. Venomous snakes versus fox python snakes are unpredictable and elusive. You can never foresee their next move. Even more deadly is that some venomous snakes carry potent venom capable of killing with a single bite. Once bitten, the chances of survival are slim. In such a standoff, the slightest mistake by either side could cost them their lives. However, fox pythons are far from being weaklings. They rely on highly coordinated teamwork to fight against these massive creatures. The highly venomous, disadvantaged group, including the fox pythons, lacked desert survival experience. They relied on hunting for food and depended heavily on adult members of their tribe. The adult fox pythons were responsible for guarding the entire territory and preventing any potential threats. However, even the best-laid plans can go awry. A cobra sneaked into the tribe's territory and approached one of the cubs. The entire tribe, like a swarm of snakes, swarmed forward, launching an attack. The cobra fiercely counterattacked, attempting to intimidate the cubs. But the fox pythons did not flinch. Instead, they pressed forward, circling and maintaining their position. While searching for an opportunity to attack from all distances, the venomous snake, realizing it was outmatched, retreated in disarray, ending the awkward standoff. In another similar scenario, a snake faced a lemur. The reptile scrambled up, pouncing whenever the lemur approached. The lemur, however, was exceptionally agile, always managing to leap back in time, precisely avoiding the snake's deadly fangs. The back-and-forth struggle lasted for several minutes. Although the lemur did not achieve a decisive victory, it successfully intimidated its opponent, preventing the snake from launching a fatal attack. In this life-or-death struggle, the lemur, through unity, agility, and fearlessness, steadily protected its group. 9th place, venomous crab versus lemur. Crabs are not easy prey. They possess deadly concave tusks and sharp venomous stingers. The venom is enough to kill an adult human. Unfortunately, this defensive system was useless against the lemur. The lemur is extremely agile and naturally immune to scorpion venom. A lemur is intently searching for food in the sand, its claws rapidly digging through the surface. The python quickly locked onto its target. A scorpion had just emerged halfway from the sand when the viper swooped down, biting down on the scorpion's tail and decisively severing its stinger. Eliminating any potential threat, it then picked up its now harmless prey and contentedly enjoyed its crisp and delicious meal. However, not every hunt is so successful. In another scene, the scorpion suddenly retaliated as the viper approached, its stinger striking hard. The viper was jolted and leaped into the air, clearly in pain. The scorpion continued to brandish its stinger, constantly intimidating and hindering the python, but the viper did not back down. After several attempts, it seized the opportunity, decisively pinning the scorpion down and locking its prey firmly in its teeth. The scorpion quickly became motionless, firmly held between the viper's teeth. In the harsh desert, the viper, with its agility and immune system, has transformed the scorpion from a deadly foe into a daily meal. They are not only skilled hunters, they understand how to take down the most dangerous prey with minimal cost. 8th place, fox wolf vs fox python. The Kalahari Desert, a wilderness ruled by scorching sun and drought, teems with all sorts of predators. These small yet incredibly aggressive creatures, the fox pythons, must remain constantly vigilant to survive in this perilous land. Their battles with nature are far more than just physical combat. They are a silent psychological game. This group of fox pythons is scattered across the sand, carefully searching for food. Higher up, several adult fox pythons stand upright, warily surveying their surroundings. They are the sentinels of their pack, their duty to be the first to detect danger. A slight rustling sound reaches their ears. A fox wolf is approaching from a distance. The sentinels. A sharp, urgent alarm sounded immediately. The entire group of meerkats instantly went into emergency mode. Adult meerkats quickly gathered their cubs and led them towards the cave. The foxwolves, having clearly spotted their prey, sped off in pursuit. Without hesitation, the meerkats darted into the intricate network of underground tunnels, their most reliable refuge. The foxwolves reached the cave entrance and tried to dig with their front paws to stick their heads inside. However, the entrance to the meerkats' caves was extremely narrow, far too narrow for them to squeeze through. After several unsuccessful attempts, the foxwolves finally gave up, turned, and disappeared into the undulating sand dunes. Once they were certain the danger outside was completely gone, the meerkats emerged from the cave one by one, returning to the sunlight to continue their unfinished work in their secret chambers. For these desert spirits, every outing is a struggle against death, and the burrow is life's last trump card. 7th place, porcupine versus fox python. The porcupine is arguably one of the most defensive animals on Earth. Facing attacks from various predators, it can easily protect itself with minimal effort. Its sharp quills act as an indestructible natural shield, effectively preventing it from becoming prey and deterring any creature that tries to approach. In the wild, most hunters, even those with extremely limited resources, will choose to avoid it, unwilling to provoke this walking hedgehog. However, the fox python's cunning far exceeds many people's imagination. Although small in size and unable to directly hunt porcupines, they excel at finding prey in crevices. Seeking an opportunity, the iris python often targets the food a porcupine is enjoying, attempting to cleverly maneuver and steal a piece. A scene captured on video shows several porcupines feasting, while several iris pythons linger nearby, their eyes fixed on the food, repeatedly probing forward, clearly wanting a share of this rare meal. They cautiously approach, but each time they are driven back by the porcupine's forest of hard quills. However, the iris pythons do not give up easily. They try repeatedly, maneuvering and probing, using their agility and speed to find an opening. After several back and forths, one of the iris pythons finally finds an opportunity. Taking advantage of a moment when the porcupines are off guard, it sniffs a small piece of food, quickly retreats to a safe distance, and the python began to gnaw on the food with relish. Throughout the process, it maintained a cautious and measured approach. While bold, it didn't completely enrage the porcupine. This delicate balance is part of the meerkat's survival wisdom. For meerkats, compromise and persistence are not contradictory, but rather two sides of the same coin, a survival principle. Meerkats are extremely vigilant, constantly alert to potential threats. However, they need to be wary of far more than just predators on the ground. There are also many hunters from the air. A group of meerkats was scattered across the sand. The experienced adults dug, explored burrows, and captured prey, every movement precise and efficient. Meanwhile, several cubs learned by trial and error, clumsily digging with their claws, searching for worms hidden beneath. Completely absorbed in their hunting practice, the young pythons were unaware that a pair of sharp eyes were silently watching them from above. Just as one of the young pythons pulled a large worm from the sand, ready to devour it, a dark shadow suddenly descended from the sky, landing steadily beside it. The shadow spread its wings, emitting a threatening cry, attempting to scare it away. The young python was startled by the sudden attack, but it didn't flee. Instead, it held tightly to the worm, standing there looking back at the bird, which was much larger than itself. Perhaps it was learning how to face danger, or perhaps it was simply an instinctive reluctance to give up its prey. Seeing that its intimidation had failed, the bird took to the air again, circling several times, refusing to leave completely. Circling the area, searching for the next opportunity to swoop down. The bird, however, was already alert, its calls for action ringing out. Nearby adult koi quickly raised their heads and converged to the right. The bird, after much deliberation, ultimately decided against continuing the attack and flew away. For the koi, every hunt is a collaborative effort under multiple threats, and the cub's growth is achieved through these perilous trials. Every close call is a crucial moment in learning how to survive on the grasslands. 5th place, boar versus koi. The koi is, however, the fox python has an extremely strong territorial instinct and will never allow any creature to trespass on its territory. No matter how powerful the opponent, it will not hesitate to rush forward, using bites and intimidation to defend the last line of defense at its doorstep. A fox python was standing near the entrance of its cave when it suddenly noticed a large boar, much larger than itself, slowly approaching the area. It immediately tensed its body, opened its mouth, and emitted a series of sharp, threatening growls, attempting to intimidate its formidable guest with its imposing presence. However, the boar seemed completely unfazed, simply lowering its head and continuing to dig in the soil, preoccupied with foraging for food, occasionally flicking its tail, ignoring the constantly screeching creature. The fox python did not give up. It retreated back to the cave entrance. The meerkat guarded the entrance, its eyes fixed on the hog's every move. Each time the hog approached the cave, the meerkat would charge forward again, fearlessly opening its jaws as if to bite, repeatedly along its path. In the meerkat's world, courage wasn't about defeating the enemy, humans, but rather protect everything that should be protected, even if the opponent is a giant beastlet. It knows this land is not a place it can come and go as it pleases. Fourth place. Cat vs. Fox cats are natural-born perfect predators. However, fox pythons are also known for their agility. Their core advantage lies in their nimble footwork. When the two meet, who wins and who loses often depends on the environment and timing. Initially, the encounter between the cat and the fox python is just a minor skirmish. The fox python tentatively approaches, leaps and pounces, seemingly playing a slightly provocative game. But as time goes on, the fox python's the attack grew increasingly fierce. Even though the cat was clearly tired of a noisy playmate and even tried to turn away, the viper persisted, continuing to pounce, even attempting to bite its hind legs. The cat was thoroughly enraged, swinging its claws in retaliation, trying to drive the viper away. But the viper was far more cunning than it had imagined. It pretended to duck and run for cover, diverting the cat's attention, and then, in the instant the cat lowered its guard, it launched another sudden attack. Even as the cat frantically fled, the viper showed no sign of stopping, relentlessly pursuing, and relentlessly watching. Another scene, brutal. A group of fox pythons launched a coordinated attack on a kitten, tearing at its flesh from all sides. They held on tightly, their movements fierce and decisive. Under the relentless assault, the kitten quickly lost its ability to resist and ultimately perished. Fox pythons are not the largest hunters, but they are the most tenacious opponents. Against strong enemies, they understand patience and strategy. Against the weak, they display brutality and efficiency through coordinated group action. This flexible and adaptable nature is the key to their survival in the harsh desert. Third place. Monkey versus both koalas and monkeys are naturally mischievous and curious. When they meet, the scene is often full of unexpected twists and turns. Koalas are known for their intelligence and caution. Before making a move, they always observe the movements and habits of their opponent. Sometimes this confrontation has no clear reason. It's purely to assert their presence and prove that they are not to be ignored in this territory. In an enclosed setting, a koala shares a space with a group of columbar monkeys. Initially, it sits in the shadows in a corner, quietly observing the primate's every move. The monkeys are much larger than it and clearly do not consider this seemingly weak koala a threat, freely foraging for food. The koala, however, does not one to give up easily. After lurking in the shadows for a while, it gradually figured out the monkey's activity patterns. Finally, taking advantage of a monkey's unsuspecting back being turned, the meerkat swiftly lunged forward and bit its tail. Before the monkey could even turn around to see who did it, the meerkat released its tail and vanished into a corner crevice like a wisp of smoke, leaving only a bewildered monkey standing there looking around. In the meerkat's world, every provocation is like a meticulously planned test. They probe the other's reaction, assess the risks and rewards, and decisively withdraw after succeeding. This seemingly casual yet calculated behavior is the source of their confidence in navigating the complex and ever-changing wild environment. Second place. Millipede versus amphibians primarily feed on insects, and millipedes, ubiquitous in the desert, are among their most frequent prey. However, consuming millipedes carries a significant risk. Their exoskeletons secrete highly toxic substances, which can harm the amphibian if ingested. To safely enjoy this food, amphibians have evolved a clever and unique method. A skilled amphibian skillfully digs through the sand and quickly unearths a millipede. Instead of immediately biting into it, it first grasps the millipede with its two front paws and repeatedly rubs and rolls it in the sand, using the rough sand to clean away the toxic secretions from the millipede's surface. This process may seem casual, but it is quite deliberate. In reality, it's extremely meticulous. Only by thoroughly removing toxins from the body can the safety of eating be ensured. Its movements are unhurried and deliberate, ensuring both efficiency and avoiding accidents caused by swallowing too much. Another meerkat, having also caught a large millipede for a sumptuous lunch, used the same method, repeatedly rubbing the millipede's body with sand to ensure the toxins were completely removed. The entire process was practiced skillfully. Clearly, this habit was deeply ingrained in its instincts. For meerkat pythons, millipedes are an easily accessible high-protein source in the desert, and their unique detoxification process makes this seemingly dangerous prey safe and visible. The meticulous pre-treatment behavior not only demonstrates the meerkat's high degree of adaptation to their environment, but also showcases the experience and wisdom they have honed through daily practice in the wild. First place, meerkats vs. meerkats. Beneath their seemingly cute appearance lies an extremely strong sense of territory. Fighting among members of the same species is not uncommon in their groups, and territorial disputes are the primary cause of conflict. Meerkats have an extremely strong possessiveness of territory and will never allow any outsider to enter their domain. Once an intruder is discovered, they will not hesitate to expel them. Two rival meerkat groups are about to engage in a fierce battle. One of the groups, intruding into the other side's territory, without any intention of retreating, they launched a direct attack on the defenders. The two groups of fox pythons clashed head-on, instantly plunging into a fierce melee. They used their sharp claws and fangs to pin their opponents down. Once a target was pinned to the ground, they would relentlessly strike, aiming for a fatal blow. The scene was extremely intense. Ultimately, the invading side, outnumbered and exhausted, was utterly defeated and retreated in disarray from the contested land. Another conflict occurred within a clan. A group of fox pythons dragged out one of their own from an underground cave and immediately launched a frenzied attack. The assault was extremely brutal and ruthless, giving the attacker no time to react or escape. The chance to escape. One of the fox pythons bit down hard on the other's neck, locking it firmly in place. The rest of its companions took turns pouncing and biting, leaving bloody marks and wounds on the opponent's body. Surrounded, the fox python was almost powerless to fight back and quickly lost its ability to resist. These internal conflicts and intergroup clashes, though seemingly cruel, are the natural way for fox pythons to maintain territorial boundaries and group order. In their survival rules, blurred boundaries mean competition for resources, and the safety of cubs, and even the survival of the entire group can be threatened. Therefore, even among their own kind, they will never back down when necessary. This instinct to defend territory is deeply ingrained in them. Among the genes of the koala, the zeroth is the west wing vs. the koala. The west wing is agile and has extremely fast reflexes, darting away at the slightest disturbance. It is one of the most difficult prey to catch in the desert. Most predators can only watch helplessly as this nimble little reptile is brought to its knees. However, the koala occasionally succeeds. So, after catching a sizable west wing, the koala used its forepaws to hold down its prey, attempting to tear it apart from the bottom. But the west wing's skin is tough, and its body is sturdy. The koala clearly needed considerable effort to successfully devour it. After adjusting its angle several times, it finally bit off the west wing's tail, swallowed it whole, and then continued to lower its head, processing the remaining carcass. Throughout the meal, the fox python remained vigilant, occasionally glancing around to ensure no predators were approaching before continuing to focus intently on its prey. The western wing of the body was relatively more difficult to process, but the fox python, with its skillful technique and ample patience, eventually tore it apart piece by piece and slowly devoured it. For fox pythons, western winged insects are not as common as insects, nor are they easy to catch. Their usual diet consists mainly of insects, scorpions, and millipedes. Encountering prey like western winged insects becomes a rare opportunity for a supplementary meal. Because of this scarcity, fox pythons treat this prey with exceptional care, always trying to preserve every last bit of flesh after killing it. All edible parts are thoroughly cleaned, leaving no energy wasted. In the resource-scarce and dangerous desert, every single food available is a testament to the viper's focus and skill. While the western winged snake is difficult to catch, it's not an unattainable delicacy for experienced and decisive vipers. Well, that concludes this video. Which of these 10 rarest viper animal battles left the deepest impression on you? If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share it with your friends so you don't miss any of our videos. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.